Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Kentucky Route Zero. I wanted to start this episode before actually launching the game so that you guys can see, like I said, when the game starts up, we do get the WEVP TV logo. I did not realize that it had any real significance, just sort of flickers past there real quick. Also, it makes like VHS loading sounds when you put it in, which thematically, I didn't really think much of it at the time. I was just like, that's a cute kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Skeuomorphic. It's not quite right, but that's just a cute little thing that it does that apparently is a little bit more meaningful than that. Alright, let's see what a Radvansky Center actually is. Aside, obviously, from it being a place with a functional security camera. Good morning. Look, Bags isn't feeling well. It was a long night. Oh, poor kitty. What are you watching? Security tape from last night. Daryl left the lights on again. Should we slash his tires? I'll leave a stern note on his desk. Spare the rod. What are we doing today? Right, this is weird. You know that old vending machine? The one that only has tomato juice? No, the old one. They just stopped refilling. Remember we rolled it out onto the dock last August and some scavenger stripped it for metal in the middle of the night? Daryl cut his hand cleaning up after them and it got infected, remember? No. Okay, anyway, the rest of it ended up in the coat room until finally Daryl was piling it into a big bag for the trash barge to pick up, and he came across this box lost behind all the junk. Check it out. This looks old. Yeah, there's a bunch of videotapes and completed questionnaires. I looked up the reference number and it's never been processed, so I guess that's what we're doing today. There's no date on it. We'll just have to make one up, unless there's some footage of a calendar or something in here. I guess these are the old tests before we started doing the video exit interviews. That's annoying. Yeah, let's see, how did we do this? I'll run the tape, you interpret the questionnaire, and I'll type it up. Okay, so this is Shannon. So the conversation we just heard takes place sometime in the future, them looking back on a security tape of the present. If that's the way you... That's essentially what's happening. It's a little more complicated than that, because, what does the word present mean? Wow, I haven't seen that poster in a while. I think that was mine from college. Yeah, definitely. Oh, right. Daryl swapped it out in the redesign. Now it's... wait, what's there now? Yeah, it's... Huh, that's weird. I can't picture it. I mean, I can picture the wall. There's definitely something hung there. Oh, that's gonna bug me. You want me to go look? It's just down the hall. No, it's okay. They're both a little concerned about what they might find. The modernist bookshelf with the fancy vintage turntable. So ostentatious. So Daryl. What? That was my bookshelf. Oh no, but you, grew out of it or something, right? It ended up in the lab somehow. Well, I keep my books in a pile now. It's easier to find what I'm looking for. Never, what shelf is that book on? Only, well, it's somewhere in the pile. Pragmatic. That is such a good idea, though. It's a big pile in the middle of the room. I wonder if... Okay. Kind of wondering, maybe if you sit down and you just wait for a while, they comment on how weird it is that this person just sat in the room alone by themselves. What are we looking at here? Well, this should be some basic information and the first control test. Subject's general disposition? Jen looks over the questionnaire document from the envelope. Why are you here? That's a good... The other passengers said we could make some quick cash taking those tests. That's right. That's why we stopped here, because money. Pragmatic. Demographic category? What's the first thing you remember? The first thing you remember. If there were always gears around, I guess that could kind of give us an indication as to why Shannon has her proclivity for fixing things, maybe? Spilled orange juice is like a real child memory, though. Yeah, let's go for that. Immigrant. Do you think we should use the old categories or the new categories? Oh, right. Will the computer even still take the old ones? I mean, they're still in the menu. Okay. In that case, put in precarious. Huh. Sure. Oh, I forgot. Name? Well, it says Marquez on the file. Whoa, Marquez, are you sure? That's what it says. Do you know her? That can't be. No, that's not her. Did she come alone or with a group? I don't know. There's an extended monitoring tape here, too. We could check on the dock when she showed up. That's very interesting. I wonder if Shannon Marquez is famous in the future. At least more famous than she is now. No, definitely not. Oh, she's traveling with one of those creepy distillery guys. Him? Nah, he just looks like some old drifter. Oh, maybe you're right. It's hard to tell in this light. Oh, it's... Wait, who is that? That guy in the hoodie. What? I don't know. I've never seen him before. Really? He looks so damn familiar. I thought maybe he was a former intern or something. He's a little old for that, right? I don't recognize him, sorry. You're all deja vu this morning. It's spooky. Sorry, just one of those days, I guess. Yeah, this is definitely strange. Again, I really wonder... I wonder what the point is of the constant shifting of perspective. You know? Us constantly, like, embodying different characters. And, like, here's not really a good example, because we're totally playing as Shannon. But we're seeing it from the perspective of these other characters. Why do they want to prevent it from seeming like one person's story, or even one group of people's story? I guess the old man is on dinghy guard duty. That's a noble assignment. So, who was this lady? Oh, right. Well, do you remember WEVP TV? No. Okay. It was a community television station. The Consolidated Power Company had to fund it as, like, a punishment for owning too much of the broadcast spectrum or something. Oh, they used to screen your videos, right? Yeah, it was like a co-op. I did some maintenance, and they gave me a slot to show my work. And they had that naked banjo guy late at night. Everybody remembers the naked banjo guy. Yeah, that's mainly what everyone remembers. I guess their whole mandate was community expression. Well, he was certainly expressive. Oh, wait, was WEVP the one that... the flood, right? Yeah. Damn. So, Shannon Marquez. Did she have a naked banjo show too? What? No. Let me guess. Which one of the following sentences best describes you, Shannon? I grieve for fate. I clicked. I was trying to click to make the options appear faster, but there were only two of them, so I guess we chose one. I grieve for fading memories. She did the weather? No, I've never heard of Shannon Marquez. It was a Weaver Marquez I knew. She worked at the station for a bit, and then she left on kind of weird terms, actually. Okay, so this can't have been that... This can't be occurring that far in the future. I was figuring from all the talk about the old computer categories that we might be talking like a decade or maybe multiple decades. I guess it could still be a decade or two. We don't know how old Mimi is. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, that's a real solid question. Where are we ever? Okay, so how do we rank her from the control test? Without turning around to look, please describe the following objects. Bookshelf. It has... I didn't actually look at it that closely. Well, cheating, because we can see the bottom of it a little bit. We know it definitely has more than 3 shelves. There's enough space for either 4 or 5, I guess. I think it was 4. It is shaped like a snake. It is shaped like a transformer coil. Well, it's definitely not nondescript. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what a transformer coil looks like. It kind of looks like a snake. It reminds me of... a library is a little like... It's a bookshelf. This is a little obvious. A museum or a department store? You know, it does kind of remind me of a museum. I don't know why. There's something about it, like, a thing designed to be looked at, you know, I guess is what I'm getting from it. Poster. Okay, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't remember what was depicted in the poster. I remember that there were squiggles. I remember that it looked real squiggly. I think there's a circle behind some of the squiggles. I don't remember. And then I get to elaborate a little bit. Does Shannon have a vintage advertisement for vacuum tubes in her workshop? Do I think that's the kind of thing that would amuse her? No, a chart of resistor values is probably like a little more useful. Lighting. There's a lamp. There's one lamp? Maybe? Average, I guess. Average, okay. There's one lamp. Hey, look, I did it. Alright, another chamber. I'm going to pay closer attention. There's a pear, and an apple, and... I can't tell... This looks like a cartoon, like an anthropomorphized turtle sitting, right? Here's his little stubby legs, and there's the shell bit, and here's one of his arms, and there's the head. And this is a crystal ball. Something. I don't know what that is. Right, because like here's the sort of roundy part. And nothing is here is completely round, right? Even the apple has corners. And then here's the thing that it sits on that holds it up so you can look mystically into it. How many pictures did she remember? 2. Or actually, maybe 3? What? She wrote down orange, strawberry, guava. Guava? I think she meant the pear. See, that's why I hate this test. There's so much fruit that basically looks just like other fruit. Oh, guava. Does a guava even look like a pear, though? I don't think I've ever seen a guava. I thought they were pink. They're just pink on the inside. You wouldn't confuse a real guava for a real pear, but in one of Daryl's crude watercolors... But I can still clearly tell that's a pear, even on video. Yeah, you and I can, but we already know it's a pear. She could be remembering wrong, or just identifying what, to her, is a much more likely fruit to appear in a painting, based on any number of cultural, social, geographic, you know? Well, she didn't say anything in her response to help clarify. Let's see. Please describe in detail any sensations that accompany your memory of the pictures. Well, I remember the way the fruit tastes. This is what I would be thinking looking at these pictures. The guava is just like candy. It's almost unnatural. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never tasted guava. It might be just like candy. My mother gave me some mushed up guava once to cure a toothache. That doesn't seem like it would work. No, not really. Just some sensory memories of guava. I guess we should just skip the pictures. That's a shame. It's really hard to measure memory degradation in some of the later tests without this one as a baseline, location updating scenario. I've been saying we should just use photographs. Watercolor paintings already have the quality of a half-remembered dream anyway. Like they're inviting you to forget them, or somebody else already forgot them for you. Like a mama bird feeding her chicks cotton candy. That's a wild description of that. Photographs are... it's not that they're really more accurate or true, but we think they are, and that puts you in a mindset. They have authority. So yeah, out with the watercolors, I say. But then poor Daryl would have nowhere to exhibit his work. Jen makes a noise. I think we could guess what that noise might be. I'm suspecting something dismissive. Oh, that's a cat. That's not Shannon at all. Oh, Jen, look who it is! Aw, I missed that kitty. I forget what became of the white one. Well, her name was Coconut, and she disappeared without a trace. Easy come, easy go? I wouldn't say easy. I had to leave food on the dock for a week before she'd come inside. And she only stuck around for a month or two. You probably saw quite a lot of her. I remember you were working nights then. She was a nocturnal creature. Oh, that's right, I remember. Can I interact with the cat? Is it going to flee when I get close? In general, listen, if this was not a video game, I do not touch a strange cat. I endeavor not to go near a strange cat. I don't even like a familiar cat, to be perfectly honest with you. You can't trust them. Always looking for an opportunity, a moment when they think you're weak. What if I... Okay, I picked up whatever it is. Is it... food? What the hell am I holding? Around... I think it's a tin of cat food. I think it's an open tin of cat food. Sometimes the fidelity of the graphics poses some issues. Wait, I don't remember this test. Oh. Did we cut this one? What's the questionnaire like? No, this is just... Sometimes if I can't make it in for a few days, I might leave a note to feed the cats. What, for the test subjects? Wow, how do you know they'll do it? I read it on, University Letterhead? It's weird. That's a weird way of communicating that. Jen, that is unethical. Well, at least I don't use university property and research equipment to make weird video art. Very well, then, I contradict myself. I wonder which is the nobler transgression. I'll settle that question. It's nobler to feed kitties. Oh, here's another extended monitoring tape from the waiting room. Oh, busy night. There he is again, sleeping. Where do I know him from? It's gonna drive me up the wall. Does he work at the university? Oh, that sounds familiar. Yeah, I think he might have worked there a long time ago. Maybe when I was an undergrad. Ah, the Paleolithic. I thought he looked a bit rugged. That's right, Jen. I went to college during the Stone Age. What was your major? Fire. I don't think he was a professor. Maybe staff? It's been so long. Sometimes I wish I'd just barreled through like you did, instead of taking time off before grad school. Well, I'm sure it was the right thing to do at the time. Yeah, or the only thing. I was such a mess. Did I ever tell you about that? My boyfriend died suddenly in my last year of college. Oh, poor thing. That's okay. It was a long time ago. But yeah, it really shook me up back then. He was studying astronomy, and we were both really into experimental music. We took a few art classes together. Oh, that's so sad. How did... You know what? Sorry, never mind. No, it's okay. That's the thing, actually. I mean, that's what shook me up about it. It was just this random accident that never should have happened, and so sudden you could never have seen it coming. He was back home visiting his parents, and he fell off a roof. Oh. Damn, I know what you mean. You can't predict that kind of, what do you call it? Freak accident kind of thing. My psychiatrist says that's why I'm such a pessimist. Well, I think you're remarkably upbeat, all things considered. I mean, you know, that thing with your boyfriend and the roof, but also what happened to the TV station. Acts of God. Do you think? No, I mean, that's what you call it. That's what you say when it's nobody's fault. It's kind of a funny thing, because the phrase certainly implies that it's God's fault. We very rarely blame God for things, even when he is supposed to be in charge of them. Is that a calendar? We actually could date this. Oh, look, can you read the date? Damn, I can't read it either. It may not even have been current. I remember for a while we had a calendar up that was like years behind, because I think Daryl liked the picture. Well, what was it? Best friends. Every month there was a different pair of animals that were friends. Oh, that's adorable. I think I'm going to be sick. You don't remember that? That weird intern brought it in from home. What was his name? Who? Oh, you remember. He was always like... I mean, we would make fun of him for... Damn, he's almost completely gone from my brain. So many interns coming and going then, I guess I didn't even bother remembering their names. I wonder who was working back when this was recorded. Is there a tape of the monitoring room? Yeah, here it is. Oh, before we check that out, did she flip the calendar forward or backward? Forward. Oh, weird. They usually flip it backward. Huh. I didn't even really think about it. It was the cat. Cat was working that night. It's the proper response to a strange cat, Ezra. Oh, there she goes. Wait, do you think... Did she follow them out? Oh. Well, here's the last extended monitoring tape from the dock when they left. Did we accidentally cause their cat to run away? I would feel kind of bad. Oh. See? Told you he was one of those distillery guys. Yeah, I guess you were right. These other guys came to pick him up for work, maybe? I don't like how they all hang out together. It's creepy. We hang out together and work together. Yeah, but it's not... They're like more than co-workers. I don't know. I just get this awful feeling whenever I see them. Like I knew them once, but not anymore. Like when they make up a dead person to look like an old photograph of themselves. Sort of familiar, but sort of strange. Yeah, exactly. There ought to be a word for that. Oh, that was weird. Bye, kitty. Yeah, they look like nice enough people. I'm sure she's very happy with them. Yeah. So... This has been a bit of a memory trip for you, huh? I bet you didn't expect these old tapes to stir up so much. How does it feel for these people to come up again? Weaver Marquez and Wise Will, I mean, and, what was your boyfriend's name? The one who died in college? Charlie. Yeah, it's kind of a bittersweet experience, actually. Like looking at photographs of people who have died or moved away. People that are gone. Gone but not forgotten. No, not forgotten. You're right. There are a couple of different ways to read that line, I guess. Maybe I should have represented her as being more comforted by that. As you can probably tell, I find the notion very uncomforting. Not that it makes me uncomfortable, but not very comforting. Stupid English language and all of its ambiguities. Look at those easels and tables on the beach over there. They call it an open-air gallery, or probably something more upscale like alfresco galleria. They say it's a popular design in foreign cities like Paris and New York. That may be true. Foreign cities like New York. The appeal is clear enough, I guess. Anyone can wander in and out. There aren't any walls or doors, there's no roof either, just kind of a thin cloth membrane, not quite a sheet or a tarp, but more like a drape of rolled-out spiderweb, looking like it might bunch up and dissolve if it ever got rained on. No concern down here for rain. Everybody thinks they're inside, just because they can't see the sky, but it's a microclimate down here, and it surely does rain. Now, right now, they're exhibiting some intimate photographs of small-town life. The highlight of the show is a large print of an old man's face. The photo is titled Walker. His eyes are kind of closing, or maybe opening? They're probably closing. Because of the scale of the thing, you can see all the crumbs in his beard. No, not food crumbs. Crumbs from sleeping outside. Reviews have been good. It's a popular show, probably because of its relevance. The town depicted in these photos was very recently flattened to make way for a big museum project. Huh. What a weird coincidence. Is that a forest? I guess if it's big enough down here to have a microclimate, there's no reason there couldn't be a forest, but maybe those are just coils? Ezra helped Kate forage for mushrooms. I sort of want to click I took a nap, because I'm curious what narrative there could possibly be associated with that. Yeah, let's do that. It might be we just don't get a scene here at all, in which case, sorry everyone. I was kind of hoping the title card was just going to say, a nap. Hey, just a quick one here. I'm going ashore to do some mushroom hunting. This little island is my favorite spot, and I figured we're already running late. What's one more unscheduled stop? Yep, that's true. Late is a totally binary state. I just need to find Will and get him up here to keep an eye on things. You know, I bet he's asleep. Could you run down and wake him up for me? Bunks are down on the lower level, right next to the map room. Thanks. Okay, for a second there, I thought it was just going to give us the the same scene option no matter what. So I could follow her in. Yeah, let's record the backside of this mammoth. I don't like the sparks that it's constantly emitting. They seem dangerous. I think this might be one of the most dangerous seeming mechanical mammoths I've ever seen. In case it wasn't clear, when I do a recording, I get to just sit there until it just sits there until I click. I wonder if there's any real meaning, mechanically speaking, that is given by the amount of time that I wait. Can I climb around on the outside of the ship? No, I have to go in to go down. Doing my best to play Ezra like a real child, which is to say, looking for every single opportunity to get into trouble. Nope, no conversation. People just sitting in silence, apparently. Oh, hold on a second. Like I was saying, let's not miss an opportunity to get into trouble. I really like that effect for going in and out of the boat. What's going on with our favorite musicians? Nothing. So I guess let's just listen to the water. Can I be honest with you? I don't remember why we're carrying a tape recorder around recording things already. Like I keep saying, no time at all. It's fine. Who needs to forget things when everything I do is recorded by video and social media? Who even needs cultural memory? Hold on, before we mess with Will at all, let's, there we go. It's actually pretty hard to get him to walk around out. Like, I want you to go over here. Here we go. Can we record the sounds of a map? No. We record the sounds of a Conway. Hey, kid. What do you think of these little trees? I think they need better light. Yeah, good point. I wonder how they live down here. Maybe she's got a special light bulb in here she turns on in the daytime. You know, when I was a kid, older than you, a teenager, I guess, we used to shoplift beer and go drink it in this one cemetery. They had a bunch of trees like this. Bigger, though. We used to call them pencil pines. I asked Kate about them, and she said they were probably the same species. A lot of people put them in cemeteries. If you cut a branch off of one of these, it won't grow back, so I guess that reminds people of the permanence of death. Anyway, we never knew about that when I was a kid. We used to snap the branches off and whip each other with them. What a super weird thing to do. Okay. Nothing over here worth recording. I guess let's just go say hi to Will. A recorded lecture plays from the tape machine next to Will's bunk, and even hinted that he had in mind a design for this device, as recorded in the Diary and Sundry Observations. Why should personalities in another existence or sphere waste their time working a little triangular piece of wood over a board with certain lettering on it? The whole business seems so childish to me. If we are to make any real progress in psychic investigation, we must do it with scientific apparatus. Again, for Edison, a technical solution to every problem. He goes on to suggest the parameters of the apparatus, and, yes, a question in the back, James. Indistinguishable, great. Yes, this idea of personalities lingering after death does appear to be in conflict with Edison's theories about what he called life units, the subatomic entities that animate matter and then scatter to other configurations when a person passes on. But, given Edison's emphasis on memory in cognition, remember, we're talking about the inventor of the phonograph, and his colorful description of the swarm of interchangeable drone-like, Edison even uses the word proletarian, life units animating the human mind, his theory naturally posits that any individual life unit possesses on its own some fragment of memory. So, according to Edison, when life units recombine from, say, a soldier into, say, a flower, we may be able, using some apparatus, to coax out from the flower memories of war. The tape stops. Will wakes up. Well, hello, small man. You caught me in my pre-dawn nap. I try to sleep in little nibbles when I can. It maximizes my time in the threshold states. What? Oh, you know, the half-asleep, half-awake, in-between places. I play these old taped lectures during my little nibble naps to absorb the information more easily. It's pretty effective. I wish I could do everything half asleep. Can't say I learned very much just now, though. I may have been too busy dreaming. A vivid, narcotic fantasia aboard the... but those are always the quickest to dissipate. I better tell you about it now before the spell's broken. Will takes a deep breath, focusing on the task of recalling his dream. I was small, not a child, an animal maybe. I patrolled the corridors of a great iron ship, searching for scraps and mice, I think, and crying, always a weak and mournful mew. Other crewmen slumped in odd corners or lay drunk on the deck. The halls smelled of shame, defeat, and rot-gut corn whiskey. They dumped artillery into the water, tore their flags into cloth scraps, and made handkerchiefs to bury their sobbing faces. They drifted on Lake Lethe, drinking the cold black water and eating eyeless fish, raw when they at last ran out of cooking fuel. They seemed, in their despair, to forget even language. After an interval of years, the ship crossed a threshold into absolute silence. Silence, except for my hopeless, whimpering cry. Anyway, that's all I remember. Oh, sorry you had a bad dream. Oh, no, not bad. Unsettling. Puzzling. But thanks for your concern, Doc. Well, I've got a stew to start. You might want to hurry back above deck. I believe we're about to pass the Bat Sanctuary. It's quite a thing to see. Okay, yeah, I want to see that. Show me the Bat Sanctuary. Kate came back from her mushroom hunting excursion with a small basket full of oddly colored caps and stems, no doubt delicious to a morsel. Of course, she intended to use many of them in her medical practice, to ease the pain, nausea, and anxiety of pregnant women, but I can usually rely on my charms to snare a bite or two. I have no preferences when it comes to mushrooms, by which I mean that I treat them all interchangeably. I prefer not to know their names or qualities before I cook them up and eat them. It's useless, after all. They escape your erudition, as the fella says. That's a good mushroom hunting island, I guess. It's plenty damp, and they've got the cypress trees there to grow on. Of course, they're not indigenous. The cypress trees, I mean. Everyone down here seems to agree that they were planted as some kind of a marker or memorial. And most people will tell you that they've got a distant relation or acquaintance who helped dig a hole or water a seedling. But Nobody remembers what it was all for, and nobody left a plaque or anything. It's a shame. Looks like it must have been a lot of work. Well, at least we have the trees. Oh, and the mushrooms. Shannon and her friend set out in the dinghy to deliver a package at the telephone exchange. I think I want to... Yeah, I want Shannon and Conway to set out together, because I want to check in on Conway. My impression is that he's spiraling pretty bad right now. Maybe use a moment alone with him. Thanks again for your help. This is about as far as the tugboat can go. You know, noise and lights disturb the bats. I usually send Will, but I thought you'd like the chance to meet Dashiell. He's the guy who worked at the TV station, WEVP. Oh, I would like the chance to meet Dashiell, actually. So, you'll pass through the Bat Sanctuary, which is really nice, by the way. Be sure to check out all the plaques and stuff for cool bat facts. You got plenty of time. Anyway, the Echo River Central Exchange, or excuse me, Consolidated Auxiliary Switch number 30. They changed the name when the power company took over. Anyway, it's just on the other side of the Bat Sanctuary. This package is going to Poppy. She's an operator. The operator. We'll meet you on the other side at Sam and Ida's for our scheduled early breakfast stop. Just follow the river. You can't miss it. Oh, I almost forgot. You may or may not be interested. There's this kind of weird memorial sculpture on your way in, just before the Bat Sanctuary. I always recommend people at least stop and take a look at it. It's really sort of... I don't know how to say it. You should just check it out. Okay, bye. Alright, I'm curious about that. Is this my lantern? Yeah. So, light and sound disturb the bats. But we don't know how much light, and it feels like we ought to keep the light. I don't want to be in the dark. Oh, okay, I'm steering the boat with my cursor, it looks like. Oh, or maybe they're just swinging around stuff naturally? What is all this? Oh, miners' hats. We claim these helmets in the name of the folks who wore them, and we've placed them here in their memory, but also as a spit in the greedy green eye of that power company, who bought up our old mine and traded our brothers' and sisters' safety for a little more yield, but only yielded 28 good men and women dead when the walls collapsed and the tunnels filled with water. Their lungs were black, but now they're washed clean, and full of water too, and swept through the hidden tunnels into some awful cave we will never find. And so we guess the water buried them for us, so let this be the marker for their grave. And if any son of a bitch from that power company wants to take back these helmets as company property, just you try it and see what will happen. Hey, Elkhorn. That's the mine we met in, where your folks, worked. Looks like it's been here a while. I sure as hell wouldn't mess with it. You think whoever wrote it is still that angry? Yeah, I don't think you ever forget anger like that. No, I guess you probably don't. This probably stirs up... I mean, how do you... She's probably got some complicated feelings about this, right? Like, it's nice that somebody did it. It should have been the power company. It is their fault. I mean, I'm sure the power company should have made a hell of a lot more restitution than this, and I'm sure they did nothing as they could legally get away with. I'm fine. I'm glad this is here. People should remember this happened. Well, here we are, remembering. And I didn't even know it the first time around, but here I am remembering it now. That's a fine memorial, I guess. Yeah, so I am not, in fact, steering. It was just a coincidence that the boat listed right and left, as my cursor did. So I don't know, maybe we want to... Oh. Hey there. Interesting. I was expecting them to continue glowing when the light turned off. What? You're looking at me like I'm crazy. Are you feeling okay? I wonder if she sees them. Oh, sure. I mean, it doesn't hurt anymore, my leg. It's just kinda numb, like it's not there. My shoulder, too, actually. That's an old one, though, from an accident. I'm lucky I just had some nerve damage there. It probably should have been a lot worse. You know, those guys from the distillery are just making the best of a bad situation, just like the rest of us. Hey, one of them said to me earlier they could even help me take care of these medical bills for my leg, you know? Get it all together on a plan. Consolidated. What? When did you talk to them about that? Oh, they're around. They're pretty much everywhere you look on this river. You really haven't noticed? Anyway, I have a feeling it'll all work out. Even this delivery? Yeah, we're almost there, right? I mean, hell, at this point I bet we could just take off the parking brake and that truck would roll into Five Dogwood Drive by itself. Listen, that old truck I've been driving belonged to my boss Ira, Lisette's husband. To be honest, Ira didn't like me very much, but somehow Liz got it into her mind that he would have wanted me to have that truck someday. Maybe to make up for all the yelling he did. Or maybe so his ghost could hold it over me, just one more thing to feel like I owed him for. Anyway, they got their own trucks at the distillery, and now that the antique shop is closing up, I've got no use for that old truck. I was thinking you could take it. Sure, I could keep an eye on it for you, until you get straightened out. I'm trying to make clear to him that he has other options. He has another place to go. Sure, okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm really worried about him and, like, the degree to which it seems like he's just kind of giving up in, like, a whole bunch of different ways. Visitors to the Echo River Lopsided Striped Bat Artificial Hibernaculum and Sanctuary are asked to take extra precautions in order to prevent the introduction of foreign fungal contaminants and the spread of white nose syndrome. Please do not visit the sanctuary during the same day in which you visited any cave known or suspected to host bats infected with white nose syndrome. Please do not leave your vehicle. If you must leave your vehicle, please remove shoes, clothes, jewelry, headwear, and eyeglasses to ensure you do not bring any foreign spores ashore with you. Please do not touch any bats or structures. The lopsided striped bat is confused by light. If you are using a lantern or other artificial light source, be aware that it may attract and confuse bats. If you are approached by bats, do not panic. Relax, stop your vehicle, and switch off your light. Never touch a bat. Sad advice, but probably for the best for them. Who wouldn't want to touch a bat? They're adorable. Even the ugly ones are so ugly that they're adorable. Alright. I am going to do my best not to ruin the bats' night. I'm going to be honest with you, I was kind of hoping we'd see more bats here in the Bat Sanctuary. Bat fact. Ever talk with your mouth full? Bats do it all the time. I was kind of hoping that was going to be the end of the sign. Bats talk in extremely high-frequency clicks, too high for humans to hear. Then they use their powerful ears to scan for the echoes of these ultrasonic clicks. By comparing very subtle differences in the time these echoes take to come back, differences of just millionths of a second, bats are able to picture their environment with enough accuracy to catch a flying insect. Once a bat has caught an insect in its mouth, it's still flying, and so it still needs to avoid running into anything. So bats keep clicking away, even while they munch on a tasty bug snack. It may be poor table manners, but it's crucial for surviving in the dark. Also, bats don't eat at tables usually, so who cares? I wonder how the other bats know whether one of them is really talking or just chasing a bug. You know, sometimes it's hard to know with people, too. Oh, yeah. Like, how about this weather? I guess there are layers to it, right? Sometimes you just need to get the other person talking so you can check their body language or hear what their voice sounds like, find out if they're friendly, or angry, or drunk. Alright, so far the bats seem to just be going about their business, their bat business, their batsness. But I am poised. I am ready to douse the lamp. real hard to tell if they're just generally agitated or if I'm agitating them. Bat fact. The lopsided striped bat's natural diet consists mostly of moths and other small insects that breed along the river. Here at the artificial hibernaculum and sanctuary, we use a combination of chemical snares and ultrasonic wards to repel all potentially contaminant-bearing insects, and replace them with our own locally bred and spawned hypoallergenic antiseptic pseudomoths, which we call the little gray nothing moth. You may be thinking that the other moths and insects the lopsided striped bat would have been eating are very much relieved that their natural predator has found another food source, but not so. We've installed netting and highly effective moth traps along the river where the lopsided striped bat normally hunts to balance their escape from the food chain. But eating moths isn't the only systemic contribution these bats make. They also produce a potent fertilizer in the form of guano that helps plant life thrive along the Echo River, the shore of Lake Leth, probably and the shore. In order to minimize the sanctuary's impact on subterranean agriculture, we collect that precious guano here at the hibernaculum and manually distribute throughout the caves. It's a full-time job. Sounds like a lot of work. So it's all fake, except for the bats. Yeah, I guess so. Reminds me of that guy Donald and his crew down there with the computer. Kind of bothers me, like they're tricking the bats? Yeah, in this case I think it's about survival. I mean, if that's the bottom line, what's the difference? Like, the folks in the mine, you said they used to buy stuff. Fans, canaries, all those little trinkets, to make it bearable. There's still a lot of stuff down there. It feels cluttered, but human. I just mean, all people need is enough to pretend we're home, and we can make it anywhere. You get kinda philosophical when you're drinking. Did anyone ever tell you that? Yeah, I guess I do. Nah, this is nothing. I used to have this drinking buddy who would get loaded and tell the weirdest damn riddles, like, which is more musical, a truck passing by a factory or a truck passing by a music school? Huh, count your blessings. I don't even know if that's a riddle. Whoa. Whose umbrella is this? There probably should not have been an umbrella just left here. Can I... No? Okay, so I can direct the lantern by clicking. I don't steer the boat at all. Can I direct it upward? No, just in the X directions. I guess the X and the Y? Or the X and the Z? You know what I mean. These ones! Is that a radio? White nose syndrome is still largely a mystery. We suspect that the white fungal growth which appears on bats' faces and wings irritates and confuses them, causing them to awaken early from hibernation and venture outside, depleting stored energy they need to survive through the winter. But biologists are nowhere near curing the disease. It spreads quickly and it is highly fatal. In this way, white nose syndrome has drawn some comparisons to colony collapse disorder as suffered by bees. White nose syndrome and colony collapse disorder are sudden, violent, and mysterious. Will honeybees and the lopsided striped bat be two more lost species, wiped out in a geological blink and forgotten to natural history? It's possible that a cure won't be identified in time, so the sanctity of this artificial hibernaculum is our best hope of preserving them. As you leave the Echo River lopsided striped bat hibernaculum and sanctuary, please make sure your vehicle and clothing are free of hitchhikers. Listen, who am I to deny a bat a trip to a brand new place? He's got a little bat adventure on his mind. Oh, what is that behind us? Oh, I think that's some of those hard times boys in a boat. Okay, turning off the light for a second maybe calm the bats? It might just be that, we're getting out of the sanctuary, part of the sanctuary now, though. I was about to comment on how it's weird that there's telephone wires down here, but I guess it's really not, because we know there's a working phone, right? Guess this'll be our exchange? Careful up there. Can't drive your new truck if you slip and break your legs. Just, don't fall asleep. Oh, very little risk of that. I've got a lot on my mind. I just mean keep your eyes open, and don't look back. Don't look back? That's a weird thing to say in this moment. Oh, hi. I remember you. What are you doing down here? I'm just exploring. I like dark underground places. I'm a romantic. Really? What does that mean to you? It means I like poems and rivers and mysteries. Okay, bye. Conversations with children. These big bird statues are pretty weird. Abel and Eloise, the lovers' careers. Bred for racing, Abel and Eloise spent most of their lives as carrier pigeons in the employ of the Echo River Avian Post. They retired here after Abel was disfigured in an accident with a light aircraft. But old habits were hard to die. Abel and Eloise would pick up scraps of paper from the ground, the trash, even pull them out of pockets, and deliver them to other people nearby, to delight or embarrassment. Word spread, and travelers passing through this tunnel began to come prepared with love letters, poems, and other written desires to pass along indirectly through these pigeons. After a hard day's work, Abel and Eloise would always be found nestled closely together in a disused newspaper stand set aside for their habitation, and that's where we left them. I mean, it's sorta sweet. I guess there's something there about, like, they got so poisoned by the idea of being put to work that they couldn't stop. But, like, you know, listen, maybe there's something just nice and satisfying about doing the thing. Maybe the birds were happy. How could I possibly know? Could be bypassed with another capacitor at 100 nanofarads to reduce noise. If your circuit's too noisy, you should tie those floating pins to ground. Huh, that's a pretty good idea. They're probably picking up all kinds of radio interference. Dashiell Morse, pleased to meet you. We don't install this type of phone for customers anymore, but there are quite a few of them still in circulation. Anyway, the new system doesn't source enough current to ring those old bells, so I'm trying to come up with a workaround. Maybe a little box the customer could attach right before the wall jack. So you do still work here. On the tugboat they weren't totally sure. Oh, well, yeah, I'm here just about every night. Is this your first time down here? Yeah, I can tell. Your eyes can't quite adjust to the light. It takes some practice. Believe it or not, I've been coming here since I was a kid, for one reason or the next. Back then, this place was a train station. It's true, they had bats then too, but they were considered a nuisance. Well, what did you come here for as a kid? Well, I usually came here with my grandmother. We took the train out to the town she lived in, or in the other direction, back to my parents' home. In my memories, it was always cold. Winter, I guess. Sometimes now I walk along the tunnel, run my hand along these wet stone walls, and close my eyes. Ringing footsteps and the drip, drip, drip of the grimy stalactites. Well, the river shifted, and this place slowly filled with water, carrying the trains away with the current. It does that, the river, and I don't begrudge it. It's a good reminder that everything we have is borrowed, even trains. Eventually, someone at the Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces heard this place was still empty, so they moved the phone company in here. I returned here as a young lineman, a skill I picked up in wartime, running telephone wires behind enemy lines. We used trees instead of poles. I missed that, actually. They were easier to climb. That's just as well. I'm in no shape to be climbing anything these days. The closest I get is patching up the wiring in the crystal room for the WEVP folks. WEVP is the TV station, right? Ooh, we should ask about Weaver. I'm curious about the TV station, too. I definitely want to see it, but... Did you ever know a girl named Weaver? Oh, sure, Weaver Marquez. That's funny, I was just thinking about her. Yeah, I met her a couple of times at the TV station. I suppose I didn't know her too well. She handled the archives, and I was helping with wiring and stuff. She really seemed to know her way around all that gear, though. She had a head for signals, I think. No idea where she ended up. I would guess she's probably not too popular around the station anymore, but I always liked her. Listen, miss, if you're interested in WEVP, you should go talk to them directly. They're always looking for volunteers. Take the ferry over to the silo. There's a mail stop there. They don't have a sign or anything. Just ask around. I guess I'll get back to this damn old ringer. Poppy's just a little further down if you're dropping off that package. It was nice chatting with you. It was nice chatting with him. Okay, so just take the ferry over to the silo. There's a mail stop. Am I going to remember any of that? No, obviously not. Hold on a second. I'm trying to tell if I should be perturbed by the fact that he and his desk are not at all reflected in the water. I guess they're far enough away from the edge. But like when I'm right here, I'm reflected quite clearly. Yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm a little bit worried about it. Just set it right over there by the lamp, sweetie. Thanks. Actually, just a minute. Who does that parcel claim to be from? The Consolidated Power Co. Oh dear, I'm afraid to open it. So, who are you? Do you work for the post office or the tugboat? I only ask because I haven't seen you before. Was that you I heard chatting down the hall? Yeah, I just met Dashiell. Well, he's been working on that obsolete ringer, hasn't he? Poor Dashiell. You know, he's not really... He was let go a while back. A long while, actually. When they started restructuring, he was one of the first to go. But he talked them into letting him come in every day and fiddle with some interminable project. He says it's to keep a long gap from growing his resume, but I think he just has nothing better to do. One of those old men who needs to work, you know? Doesn't know how to be any other way. Well, there are no real jobs here, but there are fake jobs, I guess. You know, it wasn't always like this. When I came to work at Echo River Central Exchange, there were 12 of us. Loretta, Edna, Meg, Kara, Marie, Lois, Liz, Hester, Angie, Wilma, and Connie. I was number 12. Connie and I were hired on the same day, but she showed up early. Marie finished college. Hester was fired for snapping at a rude caller, but he had it coming, and I hear she did just fine on her own. So they hired Beryl, Jenna, and Sachiko, which brought us up to 13, and that was as many operators as we ever had here at one time. Power company came along, buying up all the lines, and one day they took the exchange as a throw-in, like it was nothing, and they started phasing us out. Edna, Meg, Kara, and Lois left one Friday evening and were asked not to come back on Monday morning. Beryl saw the writing on the wall and quickly found employment at a private PBX. They had Jenna and Liz stop routing calls and write up some kind of best practices document instead. It was their final task as exchange employees. Some of the girls were reassigned to other divisions. Connie, I think, was checking residential meters. Sachiko and Wilma were moved into energy sales, just cold-calling businesses to see if they needed to upgrade their electricity plan. But at least they were still on the phone. Then it was just Loretta, Angie, and me, and we were swamped. The hours were hell and hard on the throat. The voice with a smile became a croak. I was gargling warm salt water in the break room, sipping from a thermos full of hot honey broth stashed under my chair. Oh, I brought a lot of extended technique to the switchboard in those days. Well, don't let me keep you. That sounded pretty good to me. I think he's got the voltage too high. He'll burn out the relay. So, where was I? Extended switchboard technique. I'd actually like to know what you meant by that. It was all about timing your breath. Some girls got lightheaded doing too many calls in a row, with that upbeat dynamic inflection they made us use to keep everything intelligible. It was very physical. So, after a few months, it was just me. A new automation strategy was announced, and this place was rechristened Consolidated Auxiliary Switch Number 30. So, if it's automated, what do you do here? While it's not fully automated, there are still gaps in functionality that need a human touch. And, it really is all about touch here. Sound is a vibration, a touch you feel in your ear. So my voice is my touch. When we're talking, we're touching, even on the phone. That's an electric touch, an intimate little shock that makes your tiny hairs tremble. But that's not even what I mean when I say it's all about touch here. When the power company first tried automating this old exchange with fancy new transistor arrays, the switchboard caught fire. It was just too much too fast. So they tried using some clunky old mechanical relays, but then the calls were getting mismatched and out of sync, and it was a nightmare. Their technicians determined that the phone system down here had been designed ad hoc over decades around the specific tempo of its human operators. So, short of replacing the whole thing, not to mention all the wiring, they'd have to work out the exact timing of every little human gesture that goes into routing a phone call. And that, officially, is my role here. I run the switchboard for the whole exchange. Once the work of 12, I'd like to remind you. They have some kind of machine somewhere that tracks how long it takes me to do each little thing. The caller never hears my voice now. They dial, my little indicator lights switch on, and I make the connection. Interesting. So, I'm curious about the callers, but I think Shannon's probably more interested in the machine, right? Oh, it's funny. I've never actually seen it. They told me just to carry on patching while it collects and collates in the background until it's ready to take over. There's a dark thought. What if there is no cheap machine that's going to replace me? What if it's cheaper just to keep me here, filling in for the rhythm of the operators? What if I'm the cheap machine? You're not a machine. That's nice of you to notice, huh? I'm more in the Echo River Central Exchange, and I'll carry a torch for the voice with a smile. But at least I'm keeping some part of it human, right? Even if it's not the best part. Oh, the parcel. Right over there by the lamp is fine. Thanks for dropping that off. Take care. Think of me when you dial 0. Did you see the word 0 was kind of fuzzing out there? I wish I hadn't clicked so fast. Oh! That's a problem. We should do something. Somebody should do something? I guess we're the boat now. Yeah, I'm, very extremely worried. I mean, what would we even do, though? Also, I do want to say... Okay, hold on. She returned on the dinghy alone. She had a strong and sudden urge to shut the motor off and let the current take her, but she couldn't work out where that impulse came from, so she did her best to resist it. She met a painter of shipwrecks. He never worked from photographs, so his paintings could be divided into 2 categories. There were the ones he painted from life, and the Echo River was a very good source for these because its currents were so unpredictable and the tunnels so dark. And he rendered these in oil paint by lamplight, working for hours cross-legged on the porch of his houseboat/studio. Then there were the ones he painted from memory, mostly the memory of a single wreck he encountered as a much younger man, picking up litter where the coastal highway cleaves to the rocky beaches of Northern California. These were done in watercolor. He preferred to work on them in the morning, in a room he rented near the airport in Louisville. He had some postcard-sized sketches in charcoal, too, of the Iron Pariah. It wasn't a wreck exactly, but it felt right. He tried to scribble one down every time he encountered it, though it was so unpredictable and he was so focused on details, he usually just ended up with a handful of inscrutable marks. Oh, apparently we have an opportunity to meet more than one of these people. Also, we're in a setting that feels a lot more like the Zero now, just, wet. She met a guitar player pedaling a floating bicycle with his dog in tow. He said they took turns. The water was cold, and the floating bicycle, while technically marvelous, wasn't quite buoyant enough for the both of them. Swimming is hard work. The hardest work that dog had ever done, he expected. They'd been traveling this way for most of the night, struggling through the icy water, stopping to recover when they could find a rock large enough to start a small campfire. He had his belongings stuffed into a weathered guitar case at the end of a thin rope. It floated pretty well, so he only had to keep an eye on it and occasionally free it from a rock or some driftwood it was caught on. That's not exactly what I envisioned. We should definitely invite him to rest on the boat, right? He appreciated the offer, but they weren't in a hurry. That's really not why I asked. She met a flower salesman on a raft. They floated alongside in buoyant pots, bobbing untethered. He corralled them with a long pole in a stream of small adjustments. That seems like a really effort-intensive way to do that. She leaned out over the water to get a closer look. He'd just started work for the day, so his stock was full. He pushed a few bouquets her way. First was a rustic bundle of mums. He suggested it would make an appropriate apology bouquet. Next, a simple mixture of snapdragons, made to look wild. She thought it looked eager, and he agreed. Finally, a rustic mass of blue-petaled flowers of many different types. He said it was for a particular kind of person. If it didn't remind her of anyone in specific, she'd better move on. He drifted away with the current, pushing his flowers along with the raft. She gave in, shut off the motor, and floated for a while. Then she knew what she'd been craving. A moment of silence. I'm a little surprised the soundtrack didn't fade out for that. Oh no, the flower pots are going to catch us. Alright, as much as I want to just push through to the end of the act, although honestly I have no idea how long it might be, this is probably where we ought to stop for right now. I gotta be responsible with my time, unfortunately. Oh, this is an interesting scene, though. Okay. We'll be back. We'll see it. We'll just see it tomorrow. That is gotta be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I am fascinated by what's going on here. I really do need to spend some time thinking about this. There's some things the game is doing that I'm not 100% sure why it's doing. And, I'd like to have some kind of reasonable guess at that, at least, to offer to you all. So come back next time tomorrow, when maybe I'll have some thoughts. Or maybe we'll just keep reading. And we'll see you then.